بالنسبة
بكم جميعا في الجلسة الأولى من اليوم الثاني من أعمال المؤتمر شبكات التواصل الاجتماعي والاستقطاب الايديولوجي علاقات القوى والتأثير الثقافي والاجتماعي الذي ينظمه مركز الجزيرة للدراسات قسم الإعلام جامعة قطر. تستأنف الجلسات النقاشية بالمحاضرة التي يقدمها الأستاذ الدكتور نبيل الجاني، وهي بعنوان من أجل منظومة أخلاقية وقانونية لمجال الإعلام الاجتماعي عالي. هناك شبه إجماع بين الباحثين والخبراء والمستخدمين أنفسهم أن أحد أبرز التحديات التي تواجه شبكات التواصل الاجتماعي هي مسألة الضوابط والقواعد الحاكمة لممارسة التواصل الإعلامي في بيئة رقمية أصبح فيها المستخدمون أيضاً منتجون يمتلكون وسائل إعلامهم الذاتية، وهو ما فتح المجال لأشكال مختلفة من الممارسات التواصلية التي تسببت في تلوث البيئة الإعلامية عبر نشر الأخبار المفبركة والمعلومات المضللة، ويتعاظم ذلك التحدي في سياق البيئة السياسية المحلية والدولية التي تعرف استقطابا حادا بين الفاعلين وأطراف الصراع، مما يفاقم أبعاد المشكلة. ولن يكتفي هذا المؤتمر بالوصف والتشخيص لهذه المشكلة، وإنما يحاول المساهمة في بناء رؤى حول التشريعات الحاكمة لاستخدام شبكات التواصل الاجتماعي والوسائل الكفيلة بتعزيز أخلاقيات استخدامها. يسعدنا بإثارة النقاش حول أبعاد هذه القضية أن يكون معنا في هذه الجلسة الأستاذ الدكتور نبيل الثاني، وهو أستاذ محاضر في الدراسات الإعلامية لقسم علم الاجتماع والأنثروبولوجيا والدراسات الإعلامية في الجامعة الأمريكية في بيروت، حيث عمل أيضا مساعدا لعميد كلية الآداب والعلوم ورئيس قسم العلوم الاجتماعية والسلوكية. بالإضافة إلى ذلك عمل بجانب باحثا زائرا في جامعة ليستر في إنجلترا في برنامج فول برايت في جامعة جورج تاون بين الأعوام 1971 75. شغل عضوية فريق الخبراء الدولي لليونسكو حول أبحاث الاتصال الذي أسهم في إطلاق النقاش حول النظام الاتصالي عالم جديد. فرحبوا معي الأستاذ الدكتور نبيل الجاني وتفضل.
أرجو أن تكون دخلت اليوم شوي مش أو يكون طبعا شكل مغاير لما أثير البارح كانت النقاشات كانت أكثر إيجابية. للأسف أكون بعدين مداخلة اليوم من كثير إيجابية بخصوص وسائل التواصل الاجتماعي. ملاحظة أولى، طبعا التي حتكون ضمن مداخلتي بعد ما انتهت. للأسف أنا عم بسكر في سنة خذ الوقت حتى أدخل. سكن كنت طالب في الجامعة، كان أستاذ يقول لي الدخلة الجيدة تكون طويلة هنا طويلة تكفي إنه تغطي المطلوب وتكون ديسنت، أما بعدين تكون قصيرة إلا تكون interesting. وأمل أن تكون مدخلة في اليوم من هالنوع. In a provoking article entitled "The Age of Social Media," the age of social media is ending, it never should have begun. The Atlantic magazine contributing in a provoking article entitled "The Age of Social Media is Ending, it should never have begun." The Atlantic magazine contributor, Ian Bogos, argued that social media was never a natural way to work, play, and socialize, so it did become second nature. It produced a positively unhinged, sociopathic redemption of human socialism, polarizing, offensive, or just plain fraudulent information. Fraudulent information was optimized for distribution. The whole idea of social networks was connecting, not publishing, deepening relationships mostly with people one knew. However, connection was a primary purpose has declined. Social networks developed into social media that offered platforms through which people could publish content as widely as possible, well beyond their networks of immediate contacts. By the time the platform realized that the public revolted, it was too late to turn off these feedback loops. He maintained that to win the soul of social media, we must learn to model it again across the globe, among billions of people, to speak less to fewer people and less often. We cannot make social media good because it's fundamentally bad. Deep in its very structure, all we can do is hope that it withers away and play our small part in helping abandon it. Discussing the role of social media in politics. Discussing the role of social media in a chapter of a book on rethinking the world we knew, Diana Owen observes that the new political social media system evolved haphazardly, with no guiding principles or goals. Consequently, she argues that we are living in a post-era that marked a new law for the democratic imperative for a free press and the role of fake news that are attached to fictitious stories made to appear as if they were the real news. Professor of Social Theory at Swarthmore College, Barry Schwartz, argues in his 2004 book, The Paradox of Choice, Why More is Less, that too many choices have and he argued that too many choices lead to less choice and confusion. And Kate Lindsay proposes that the social media platforms are presently less relevant than ever. She expounds that indulgence in the use of social media makes it hard to find our friends and rationalizes that it turns out that gathering more than a quarter of the world's population in one place creates the same problem as inviting too many random people to a party. So with this introduction, I can sort of get into my subject. The debate on the role of social media is still in its infancy. No one can claim that they know that they have definite answers about the magnitude of this role, its impact and effectiveness. Social media effects are only one of the several political, economic, social, and cultural aspects that influence mass popular movements. The interdependence of mass media with modern electronic media technologies resulted in the revolution that highlighted enormous possibilities in the field of communication, including the development of the World Wide Web system. This network has changed the system of human interaction and opened up new areas of communication that one could not have dreamed of. The worldwide area network, Internet, launched qualitative revolution in the possibilities of mass communication and led to the development of modern social media platforms. These platforms have changed the pattern of media communication and are no longer limited to messages sent in one direction, often these platforms have changed the pattern of media communication and are no longer limited to messages sent in one direction from channels owned by states or from the other owners, individuals or institutions who have the material and technical means. The introduction of the Internet and its innovation opened new opportunities for interaction among individuals and groups. The upsurge of social media platforms in the worldwide witnessed the opening of new interaction avenues, allowing individuals and groups to share information and connect in new, previously conceived to be unattainable. In theory, social media allows everyone to interact with it or its audience by sharing and expressing. However, the reality is that there are significant obstacles and caution to such interaction. While the social media platforms have opened new prospects of sharing information and connecting among individuals, there is also evidence to suggest that social media have detrimental effects. Social media have become an unescapable presence in the daily lives of people. Through the social media, individuals and groups can find and engage with others who can relate to their opinions and experience. Content shared on social media can potentially increase audience reach and message significance. We are constantly connected through platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and more. These new media platforms have established themselves as powerful channels for public discourse and an integral part of the public sphere, allowing for a comprehensive exchange of ideas. Alternatively, while there are many benefits to using social media, we must also address the potential consequences of the overuse and abuse of it. Social media platforms can be abused to manipulate opinion by spreading misinformation and selecting message sources. Evidence suggests that the more these platforms spread emotionally charged content, the wider audience spread it achieves. Consequently, the shared contact on social media can potentially go viral, resulting in an increased audience reach. Social media platforms thus can intensify negative misconceptions and prejudice can be intensified by distributing offensive information and fake news. Additionally, social media platforms are often used to control and repress individuals by preventing the flow of adverse ideas and stifling opposing voices and opinions. As the public sphere continues to evolve, social media will continue to be a crucial tool for social change. However, to say that social media platforms are the cause of social change is a statement that needs to be scrutinized and proved. History is replete with news of people who protested and toppled governments long before the internet and Facebook. Communication between the then rebellious masses was face-to-face through direct human interaction. Unfortunately, the face-to-face medium goes unnoticed or receives sporadic attention nowadays. While social media platforms were introduced to help in creating opportunities for a person or a group's message to be seen and heard, experience has shown that these platforms can set up their own ideological criteria to monopolize the online space by blocking information sources. Social media users are thus subjected to the view and rules of platform administrators. There are, therefore, as the ethical and legal framework for a just social media public sphere requires ensuring the right to express uncensored, confrontational, or unpopular views, the integrity of individuals, and the value of their privacy must be protected. The advantage of these platforms are undeniable, but social media can also have negative effects in our society. In addition to increasing the vulnerability to private violations, experience has shown that social media can do aggressive negative misconceptions and prejudices, as well as spread cyberbullying. By connecting people, social media is often used to spread rumors and to manipulate public opinion. What we are witnessing today is social media tolerance that ignores life matters and turns to cheap attraction without giving sufficient attention to developing a real climate of interaction between citizens with each other. Priority is given to structural changes at the expense of ethics and professionalism, which leads to the spread of culture far from social responsibility, dominated by a bazaar mentality. As a result, the freedom to interact with the common person is confused with the freedom to pursue material or emotional profit. It is important to consider the ethical issues that arise when we engage in social media. These media can provide a platform for people to harass, shame, and bully other individuals with relative anonymity. In addition, we need to be conscious of the potential psychological effect of social media use. Such an addiction and cyberbullying and obsessive focus on social media can become an addiction. also can construct online relationships at the expense of real relationships and hinders people from engaging in realistic social interaction by neglecting their relationships in the real world and disconnecting them from people around them. Now I can move to talk a little bit about the Arab social media. Practice in the Arab world has shown that the real difficulty is in what might be called the integration of technologies with the social structure. The adoption of social media technologies causes a new style of work, a new way of production, and even new content. These technologies are usually imported from countries that are culturally different from us and do not necessarily fit our culture or way of life. From here, we must adapt imported technologies to our needs and conditions. Social media platforms are double-edged swords. They can raise important issues, put them on the agenda of citizen debate, and positively affect their awareness. On the other hand, they can contribute to the destruction of national values or achievements. A serious negative consequence of the use of social media is the low level of communication in the public sphere, which results in abandoning the discussion of important life matters and the possibilities of turning them into immoral, marginal, and unhelpful matters. Another downside of the indulgence in social media, which is given little attention by Arab scholars, is the weakening of the Arabic language as a result of the use of foreign characters in writing Arabic. It is clear that the new social media platforms can play an important role in shaping events in the Arab world. There is no doubt that Facebook, Twitter, and mobile phones have contributed to the rapid dissemination and transfer of information to those who are generally not in their contact. These platforms can potentially contribute to the amplifying development. However, the absence of Arab media policies and plans that link the social media platform with our other institutions of society have led to the media chaos and cultural entropies. Media platforms in the Arab world are becoming a serious magnifier of the dealing with under-the-surface racial and religious prejudices that presently plague the communication scene in the Arab world. The problem of Arab social media platforms appears to be mainly from the lack, or rather the inability of Arab planners to develop clear plans and policies linking various social institutions to the goals of the society as goal. Social media platforms can indeed produce the type of modernizing or change messages and themes that are typical in Western media platforms. But these messages and themes are often alien to their own cultural norms and will certainly produce cultural entropy. Adopting entropic messages and themes may result in having our societies pay a high price and to the neglect of basic development needs. Modernization is not achieved by adapting the problems of developed societies that we generally have nothing to do with. Rather, it often leads to neglecting the actual problems of society. The pressing question we must address when deliberating about the ethical structure of social media platforms in the Arab world is it possible and how to use the social media in ways other than those in which they are currently used, so that this Arab world, at the level of countries as well as individuals, can preserve the various humanizing advantages and increase the possibilities of the weak, the poor, and even the ignorant to participate effectively in decisions that reflect their lives, whether at the level of society or individual. The problem facing Arab culture does not lie in the issue of media freedom or disorder, as much as it lies in the issue of the freedom of the citizen and the rehabilitation in the field of democratic participation in their society. The development of cultural being requires exerting effort to control the progress of technologies, lest we reach a state in which we are unable to control these technologies economically or even humanly. There should also be caution against embracing a misconception of democracy. We must recognize the eternal dilemma facing Arab societies in choosing between effectiveness and justice, and between influence and freedom. Cultural and media problems on the Arab, cultural and media pollution in the Arab world must be given more attention and importance. We have certainly reached a very advanced stage of importing media platforms that have the greatest impact on polluting our culture and the minds of Arab masses. The most important issue we need to address in this path is the assessment of important social media platforms in light of the needs of our societies. Such an objective requires a focus on the socializing impact of the social media on the users, as well as tracing the work of the social media platforms and their operators. These platforms allow users of varying benefits and functions. Hence, it is reasonable to advocate for the regulation of the use of these means through the development of policies that are based on the needs of our societies and thus emerge from or are in harmony with our culture. It is necessary, therefore, to establish controls that allow confronting the onslaught of foreign culture and media. Such controls require the regulation of the flow of social media and cultural programs and materials that may have a negative impact on our society. This approach will be the avenue for a common Arab culture and media platform that emerges from our needs. In order for this quest to succeed, we must begin by strengthening the basic elements of social media and cultural production. The dominance of social media platform designed for the public that is culturally and morally different from ours has resulted in our cultural exchange becoming less culturally equivalent. The level of our culture has dropped, and it has become a mere commodity to which the provisions employ that what applies to other material goods in a Western-dominated world order. The present world order narrows the field of competition and contributes to undermining the sovereignty of national culture in the course of a concerted, intense foreign cultural and value pressures. Western values have become dominant in the programs of our social platform. By entering a confused modernity and the structure of our civic education, even our family structure has been affected. Foreign cultures are popularized to the Arab common people, and thus the media operating within the current world order are contributing to making national culture alien to the common Arab person. This is usually carried out within the so-called modernization process, during which culture is codified and its attention is diverted towards universality, or so that traditional values and arts are localized, so that traditional values and arts that localize culture disappear, and we see Western popular culture blending with our popular culture and sometimes even swallowing it. The advancement of Arab human communication potential entails its harmony with national development needs. Long-term principles and rules that guide the performance of Arab media systems are required. This orientation should be determined by the analysis and identification of the existing practices, as well as on the formulation of new principles and rules appropriate to the achievement of desired objectives. The social media platforms have freed and the communication process from many of the restrictions that used to limit the communication of individuals and groups. However, the manipulation of these platforms is particularly feasible to those who possess advanced technologies and equipment. Here lies the danger of the domination of technologically and materially advanced countries over the lacking countries in this field, as well as the danger of commercial enterprises controlling the way the public consumes these media. The mental energy generated by interactive media technology are produced or managed by transnational corporations, and these transnational institutions control the channels of communication in growth-seeking countries. Social media do not operate in a vacuum, but within a social reality. So they must operate in the context of the social and ethical responsibilities of the society. This is an important factor in the formation of mental understanding or awareness of the citizens' view of the society and the world. The content provided by social media platforms, such as cultural entertainment or other messages, does not necessarily lead to the realization of the truth, but contributes to the formulation of a new hyper-reality that contributes to the westernization of our youth. The present hegemony of foreign countries, of foreign cultures on our interaction channels and their content has led to the alienation of the Arab public, rather than the facilitating and facilitating their participation in society. This alienation is often carried out through providing a content that is not connected to the Arab cultural reality, which prompts the common people to revolt against their own values and lifestyle. Social media platforms can play an enormous role in distracting people from their local problems and turn their attention away from the real social and national problems to focus on important foreign and superficial ones. A reflective contribution to our present discussion about social media here is perhaps the discussion of the impact of globalization on the Arab world by two renowned Moroccan scholars, Muhammad Abed al-Jabri and Abdelaziz Ben-Rousis. The new social media platform brought about in the Arab world what Ben-Rousis terms as an overflow in a society, in the society's need for gratification that will kill the soul and take away the moral and human content of people's behavior. It will cause the individual to acquire an immunity deficiency disease. Belkazis calls it for reflecting about strategic approaches to adapt our culture and society to the challenge posed by globalization. According to Belkazis, prospective social media laid down a new revolution in history whose strength will be the human group instead of the state and national group. He argues that what is termed today as cultural globalization is not the transition from an era of local and national culture to a new higher culture, which is world culture. Rather, it is an act of cultural usurpation and symbolic aggression against other cultures. Belkazis contends that the true world culture is the culture of all societies without exception and not merely Western culture. Muhammad Abed al-Jabri, on the other hand, proposes that by controlling cognition, the new media distracts the effectiveness of the mind. The logic behind the logic adapts and the value system is disrupted. He suggests that this produces a culture of penetration, which is based on a set of illusions aimed at normalization and hegemony, and the consolidation of civilizational subordination. Al-Jabari argues that one of the results of the culture of penetration is the occurrence of duality and shift within the Arab cultural identity, a split between tradition and modernity. However, Al-Jabri warns against taking a position of total closure. He warns against taking a position of total closure as a reaction to cultural globalization, as well against the total acceptance of globalization or alienation, and calls for the need to renew Arab culture from within and rebuilding it and participating and practicing modernity, seeking aspects of understanding and interpretation of its course, allows linking the present with the past in the direction of the future. One of the important aspects of Al-Jabri's probe of globalization highlights that what should be done and what should be rejected. In the face of cultural globalization, he stresses the importance of employing rationality and democracy in this probe and calls for the renewal of Arab culture from within by linking the present with the past and in the direction of the future. Now, my concluding remarks here. Discussing the future of social media, I'm going to maintain that it's never felt more plausible that the age of social media might end, and soon. He cautions that if change is possible, carrying it would be more difficult, because we have adapted our lives to confront the social media's pleasures and buttons. It's seemingly as hard to give up on social media as it is to give up on smoking en masse. We did so slowly and over time by forcing social life to suffocate the practice. That process must now begin in earnest for social media. Kate Lindsay qualifies that to ensure a just social media public sphere, a strong ethical and legal structure must be established and adhered to by all involved. This is not done by regulatory decrees, but is rather a social process. Indeed, addressing the mounting problems of the social media needs a social process approach and not mere regularity measures. The rapid and entropic development in the field of art social media has resulted in an addiction to a new type of social reality that is not ethically or legally useful. Thus, this addiction is too firm to be brought to an end by immediate regularity decision. The necessary regulation need is to be part of an excessive long-term social process. This social process approach requires meaningful communication strategies that will bring about a change in thinking and acting. It is necessary to introduce positive roles for individuals and groups that help accept and promote positive change, as well as the development of local ideas and visions into practical plans for social development. To address this, our social media public need to be directed towards engaging in qualitative and positive message production by providing interactive material related to the reality of their society. Important culturally relevant programs that may contribute to the alienation of the common person needs to be subjected to regulation. If well-regulated, social media platforms can contribute to the formation of a new consciousness that launches the possibility of new social development. Failure to develop policy-based plans for regulating and the functioning of social media has led to the transformation of our social media platform into means of discordant identity and values means of social development. Building a productive and effective art public requires special efforts to prevent the use of interactive means from developing into a situation where society is unable to control it economically, humanly, and morally. Public planners must develop media policies that generate social media platforms and able to reserve the people. It should be emphasized that calling for a media policy and planning should not mean a centralized orientation, but should be seen as a method of rational development of various interactive media activities. Proper planning opens up possible alternative proposals, allows for flexibility and innovation, and provides opportunities for creativity. Proper planning does not reject traditional communication systems and interactive practices simply because they are drawn from the past. In cases where these traditional systems are out of sync with future goals, they can be developed to integrate this with new social media and thus fit these goals. Thank you.